y'all having a splendid day, man. And hope y'all sharing the show, man. Share the show, share the library, man. Let's get to it, man. Let's get right to it. And leave in the comment section what books you reading so I can know if it's something that I need to purchase. Let me know what books you reading, but I'm gonna start it off with the definition of like the title of her book is called Dopamine Nation. A lot of people might not know what dopamine is. They might think it's a substance or a pill or something you can get from Walgreens or CVS or something. But the definition of dopamine is I wrote it down. Dopamine is a type of neurotransmitter. Your body makes it, and your nervous system uses it to send messages between nerve cells. Dopamine plays a role in how we feel pleasure. It's a big part or unique of our unique human ability to think and plan. Dopamine. To think and plan. Wow. So let me get into her name. Anna Lembke. She's a instructor at Stanford. And she wrote this dope book, man. This book touched me. It's a real good one. It touched me. And it made me think about this. It instantly made me think about what are you indulging in, Trev? What are you indulging in that you're addicted to that's not benefiting you? All humans have something that we're indulging in. I don't want to call it an addiction, but I'm gonna say for personal reasons, it's an addiction to me. But what are you indulging in that you know what I mean you can't let go, that you ain't letting go, and you know that it's not benefiting you. You personally know this. Hmm. So when I opened this book up, chapter one, the first thing she was talking about was masturbation. And somebody that she was dealing with and teaching and that was coming to see her, the main thing that they was addicted to was masturbation. And they couldn't stop. They even made a toy to use. So masturbation, like, can you if you masturbating, can you go without it? If you eating foods that you know is not good for you, can you go without it? If you smoking, can you go without it? And dopamine to me is like you're aware of it, but it pleasures you. It's pleasing to you to masturbate, to smoke, to eat the bad foods, to eat sweets. It's pleasing you, but it's not doing you no good. Can you fast from it? How difficult will it be to fast from it? Your neurotransmitters is telling you that this is all acceptable. This is good. This Hennessy tastes good. This weed, this masturbation, this feels good to me. Like what did Kanye say in one song? He said, I know it's wrong, but it feels so right. You know what I mean? It's just those dopamine receptors are telling you to do it, but it's not beneficial to you. But before we get into the excerpt of the book, I'm gonna play an interview of something interesting that she said that was very interesting to me, and then we're gonna continue on.
When I talk to patients about this, what I will say to them is that anxiety is a really valuable and important emotion in your life, right? It's a kind of an energy. I mean, if we didn't have anxiety about future consequences, we wouldn't get anything done. And I think that kind of reframe is really essential. So it's not just that, gee, we shouldn't eliminate all your anxiety, and we also can't. But like anxiety is good, right? It kind of fuels, fuels your anticipating the future and preparing well for it, and it's involved in all kinds of good outcomes. So, what we need to do is do a lot more educating psychiatrists and other mental health care providers to help their patients kind of reframe things like, anxiety as a type of energy that allows us to get things done. Likewise, with attention deficit disorder. So, I think even pathologizing a child who, by our assessment, is distractible is really negating the value of dreaming. because a child who is distractible, who is internally preoccupied, is a child who's dreaming. And where would we be without dreams, right? Those are curious, lovely, creative endeavors.
Hmm. When you think of anxiety, what do you think of? The first thing you think of is something negative. Most people think of something negative. They think of my heart racing. It's making me, you know what I mean, do too much. It's making me feel. Remember the past. It's making me feel troubled. I'm rushing. I'm rushing. Anxiety, basically, if you break it down to its smallest molecule, it just means anxious. And you could be anxious about something good, and you can be anxious about something bad or something bad happening or something that hasn't happened yet. You could be anxious about it. But what I took from what she said is that you can perceive anxiety in multiple ways. Why is it only taught the negative way? Because you could have a positive outlook on it also. That's what I took on. But let's get into the excerpt from the book. Let's do it.
Which is essentially what Dopamine Nation recommends, which is to say the first thing that we need to do is to cut out all of these feel good substances and behaviors, at least for long enough for those neuroadaptation gremlins to hop off and for homeostasis to be restored.
Dopamine fasting.
Yeah, essentially dopamine fasting, right? And whatever your source of dopamine is, to cut it out for long enough. Now, in my clinical experience, in my practice, because I have patients who come in seeking help for anxiety, depression, insomnia, and the first thing that I will typically do is to have them cut out their feel-good drugs and behaviors. Very counterintuitive, right? Because you're going to feel worse before you feel better. Because as soon as you do take the weight off the pleasure side, you're going to get this balance slamming to the side of pain because now you've accumulated all these gremlins, right? But if you wait long enough without using, they eventually do hop off. In my clinical practice, it takes a minimum of a month abstaining for that to happen.
I was very impressed you got that teenage girl to cut out marijuana for a month. I was like, all right, how's she going to pull this off?
Right. Yeah. And it's hard to do because, the sensation is that I'm depressed and anxious, and that's why I'm using, because it relieves it. And what we're not able to see is the true cause and effect of, because I'm using this substance repeatedly and bombarding my, dopamine reward pathway, that is why I'm depressed and anxious.
Drugs and behaviors. So you can look at multiple things as drugs, not just a substance that you ingesting for a feeling. Ooh. It's a lot of things that are substances that you're ingesting for a feeling, not just opioids or marijuana or cocaine or heroin. It's multiple things that you're ingesting for a feeling. You could ingest something like an energy drink, and it could be a addictive substance because you're craving the caffeine because it's giving you a feeling and it's consistent, and it comes to a point to where you need it. You see the Starbucks line, that's caffeine also. It gets to a point to where you need it and you need it, and it's repetition. And it's not good to be addicted to anything. That's my perception. But your dopamine and your neurons telling you, I want more, I want more, I want more, until you crash. And then when you crash, all hell break loose. And then like drugs or whatever, when you think about drugs, you want that feeling that you initially got, and you chase it over and over and over again. But you never get that reward. Usually the punishment is worse than the reward. Okay. The punishment is, if I'm addicted to the substance, it's multiple punishments, but I'm just using this as an example. I'm spending money after money after money to get a reward that's just going to be fulfilling for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour, whatever the reward is. But I'm spending my money over and over and over and over and over again. Or I'm trying to get in shape, and I gotta work out forever just to get back to that physique that everybody thought I was attractive at one time. But I ate so many donuts. Now I'm out of shape, and now I got to work out for 3 years just to get that physique back. It's just the reward is not as beneficial as the pathway to get back to that reward in any instance. But man, 5 out of 5. Dopamine Nation, man. Go get it. Real talk. Peace, love, plenty abundance. Go get you some money. I'm out.